Hello and welcome to Design and Business Conversations for Creatives. I'm Cheyney and today I'm chatting with you about Pinterest marketing in 2020. I've broken this video up into 4 parts. Firstly, I will chat to you about the basics of Pinterest, go into a little bit of detail about who it's for and how you can use it for your business. I'll then share my story and how I started on Pinterest, which will then lead into my strategy for Pinterest. A strategy, I will say up front, which hasn't been necessarily intentional. It has just evolved, but it has paid off and been really great for my creative business. So hoping that whatever I share with you, you can take some nuggets of wisdom and apply it to your business and hopefully have some success with it too. And lastly, I will share with you some of my favorite tips. Number 1, the basics. So what is Pinterest? Pinterest is essentially a search engine, a little bit like Google. As a user, you would go onto Pinterest, you would type into the search bar something that you're interested in, that you want to learn more about, then Pinterest will return the results that best suit your search. As a business owner, you can use Pinterest for 3 things. 1 is to drive traffic to your website to help sell your products or services. Number 2 is to be visible. And number 3 is to provide inspiration. So who should use Pinterest? If Pinterest is something that you enjoy using, you should absolutely be using it for your business, no matter what your business is. Pinterest will work differently depending on your business model, but I do believe that you can introduce it and use it to your advantage no matter what. Pinterest is particularly useful for anybody that isn't confined by borders. And what I mean by that is if you are able to sell your products or your services globally, you should absolutely be using Pinterest. That isn't to say that if you are a small business that's selling to a local market that you can't use Pinterest for your business. If you are a hairdresser and you can only cut hair for a small radius of people in your area, it doesn't mean that you can't use Pinterest for your business. You could set up some kind of model where you encourage your clients to pin to boards the inspiration for their next haircut or color or style. I personally use Pinterest to gain inspiration, but I also use it to sell my print-on-demand products. So those are my products on my Redbubble, Etsy and Society6 sites, which I've spoken about in other videos. I use it for my design business, not only with my clients so they can pin examples of, say, logos they like or packaging they like, but also I can make up boards for them saying this is the style in which I'm thinking of using for inspiration. Through pinning my content, I have attracted some international clients, which is awesome. So how can you start? Firstly, you're going to need a Pinterest account, so you're going to need to sign up. And then I would suggest that you start pinning other people's content so you can get your head around the platform and how to use it. And then you're going to want to create a pin and start driving people back to your website through your pins. Number 2, my Pinterest story. I started on Pinterest way back when it first started. I think I had to be invited to the platform and I signed up on my personal account and I used it to pin images that I like, just like you would on a pin board. Funny that. You can't see it, but behind the camera I have a board where I actually stick images that I like, and essentially Pinterest is exactly the same thing, just digitally. So I started out with a couple of boards that was probably fashion, home decor, food, and what I would do is I would pin images and kind of bookmark sites to go back to later for inspiration. If you have been following some of my other videos, you might have seen that I have a graphic design business. I'm located here in New Zealand. This is my second business. My first business was Camille Co, which was luxury soaps and candles. I took my personal Pinterest and back when I had Camille Co, I converted it into a business account. I largely used Pinterest for Camille Co to gain inspiration for the direction of my branding and my packaging and my styled product shots. And I was finding that I would gain most of my inspiration from Pinterest, and inspiration and stealing are 2 very different things. That is something else I will hope to remember to go into later. I've had some images stolen off Pinterest, and that is not okay. Inspiration and stealing are two different things. You can be inspired by something without copying it. Back on track. Camille Co. gained a lot of attention through my pins. However, it wasn't necessarily converting to sales. I was driving people back to my website through these pins. To give you an example, I had some images that I created for my catalog that were beautifully styled mood images, and then I would create a pin it to Pinterest, link it to my website, and then people would go onto Pinterest and search pretty candle image, and Camille Co images might show up on the feed, and then they might click it and save it to a board, or they would click into the pin, which would direct them to my website. However, if they were pinning from the States and being driven to my website, that wouldn't convert to sales to me because I didn't ship to the States. I used mainly Pinterest in my Camille Co business for inspiration, and also marketing and business tools and resources. Say you want 20 blog ideas for your next blog post, you can go into Pinterest and type in 20 blog post ideas, and it will bring up screeds of information where people have provided that for you in a simple image, and you can gain inspiration and apply that to your business. Pinterest for Camille Co was really good in that sense. I gained a lot of inspiration for the look, but also the direction of my business and the strategy and the marketing of my business without using Pinterest to gain sales. Fast forward, and I now own Design by Cheyney, which is a freelance graphic design business, and Pinterest gains me clients and makes me sales. I also still use it for inspiration, don't get me wrong, and I also encourage my clients to send me their Pinterest boards when we start a new project, so they can put together a board. Say they're doing a packaging project, they can say, I don't know, skincare packaging ideas, and they can pin a whole bunch of skincare that they like and send it to me, and it gives me a really good visual basis on the direction that they would like to take their product. How I use it to drive sales is I have print-on-demand websites, which I have spoken about in other videos, and a lot of you here might have print-on-demand, so this is applicable to you. I create pins that link back to those platforms. I am also getting a lot of international clients through Pinterest by pinning my own content, my own logos, my own packaging, and linking it back to my own website. How do I know this? Is through my analytics. I love Pinterest. I have always loved Pinterest, and I think to have anything work for you in your business, you do need to connect with it. If it isn't for you, it isn't for you. I would give it a go and see if you can get your head around it, but if you're feeling like it's not connecting, then it isn't going to work. It's like anything. I always think that you should put your energy into what you enjoy, because you're going to get the most out of it, and people can see when you enjoy something. So going into my strategy, this is more of a story than of a how-to, because honestly, I know a lot about Pinterest, but I don't know the most about Pinterest, and I also don't want to preach that I do, because it isn't true. I think sharing my experience could help. So my strategy isn't so much a strategy as just something that I fell into and it worked. Every day I pin 10 to 20 pins. Pinterest has an algorithm that will recognize what you enjoy, and it will put it on your home page. In the morning, I will go onto Pinterest and repin about 10 to 20 pins that I enjoy to a multitude of different boards. For example, I have a board that is packaging, I have one that is food, I have one that is style, I have a logos board, and whatever I see in my feed, I basically just pin it and organize it. If I need some inspiration, I can go to that board. Say if I'm working on a new logo, I can go into my logos board and see everything that I've pinned that I like over time in one place, and it can really help get my creative juices flowing and inspire me in a direction. So on top of pinning 10 to 20 of other people's pins every day or every couple of days, I create my own pins. So if I'm sharing a logo, I have a preset in Photoshop. I can make the pin at a certain size, which is 1000 pixels by 1500 pixels. So that's a vertical pin which Pinterest favors. Then I can link that to my website, post it on Pinterest, and then anyone that likes or repins that pin will be taken back to my website if they click on it. For my print-on-demand sites, I will make a mock-up of the product on placeit.net, which I've spoken about before, and I highly recommend if you are on print-on-demand sites, check it out. Even if you're a designer, it's great for mocking up business cards, packaging, etc. I have a preset saved in my Photoshop where I can upload my Placeit image, crop it to Pinterest dimensions, upload it to Pinterest, type in the keywords, which is key. You need to make sure that you have the right keywords in there that is going to ensure that the user who's looking for that image can find it. For example, if I'm uploading, say, a tote bag, I will say kiwi fruit tote bag, Society 6, designed by Cheyney. Something that has a lot of information in the title where it can be placed high on the ranking. And then I can drive traffic to my print-on-demand websites by adding in the little website box. Rather than directing people to my website, I can direct people to a custom URL, so my Society 6 store. Now, the key for Pinterest to know it is working is to check out the analytics. And not just the Pinterest analytics that are offered to you with a business account in Pinterest. I have my website on Squarespace. I actually go into my Squarespace analytics and I can measure the amount of traffic that is being driven to the site from Pinterest. Not only that, I then have a further step to test my Pinterest marketing. I have a contact form on my website that has how did you hear about me with a drop-down menu, and Pinterest is one of the options, so that I then know if I'm getting traffic, where it is coming from. So often I will get an international client email me and I know straight away if they've contacted me through my email form that they've found me through Pinterest. The best advice I have around this is follow the path. Once you create a pin and upload it to Pinterest, make sure you track its progress. A couple of things I don't do on Pinterest, which a lot of people talk about, is use Tailwind or any scheduling tools. My experience on Pinterest is all organic. I don't have any automation, and I think that's just because I enjoy it. I'm not saying don't use them by all means. I know that a lot of people have a lot of success with those tools. I don't know about rich pins. I have tried to get my head around rich pins. Something there doesn't connect for me. Paid advertising on Pinterest. I have done it about 3 times. It didn't work for me. I found it very confusing. I have pins that are doing a lot better than the 3 pins that I have actually paid to promote. So for me, Pinterest is completely free, which is great. It just takes my time, which isn't free. I am a part of a couple of group boards, and how you discover group boards on Pinterest is I just Google group boards and will find group boards that are suitable to my niche and my business. The little circle in the bottom left corner, I believe, is divided up. Rather than having one profile picture, it will have a couple divided, and that's how you can tell a group board from just a single board. In my Pinterest experience, I'm pinning about 60% other people's content for my own inspiration, and I pin to that 60%, probably 40%, which sells my products and services. I recently had a pin go viral, and I actually can't tell you why, how, where. All I can tell you is that it was super exciting, and I woke up one morning, checked on a pin, and I tracked its progress over the next couple of days through my analytics, and it had something like 4.2 million impressions. Great. I'll pin the image so you can see the actual stats. I'm just running off the top of my head, but it had a certain amount of resaves, and then it drove hundreds of people back to my website. And through having that form on my website where I can track Pinterest clients, I have actually had quite a few people approach me for some design work from that pin. I can't tell you why that pin went viral exactly. However, I am thinking it's because it was a pin that people largely repinned it. That's why. But why that pin over any other pin, I'm not quite sure. One thing that I will say, and this, I'm going to share some tips in the next part of the video, but I'll add a sneaky tip in here. I don't watermark any of my pins. I think if something has a big watermark in it, people are unlikely to repin it. However, that has left me really vulnerable, and people have actually stolen my artwork. I get tip-offs from all over the internet saying, hey, I saw this online, I believe it's yours, and someone has taken my artwork and claimed it as their own, which is not cool. Don't do that. It's actually illegal. It's a funny one, watermarks, because watermarks do protect your artwork, but in terms of repinning, I think people won't repin your content as much if it has a watermark in it. However, you do leave yourself open for copycats. Okay, so lastly, I'm going to share some of my tips for you to use Pinterest in your marketing strategy in 2020 for your creative business. My first tip is create high quality content and high quality pins. Make sure that they aren't pixelated and that they are something that look good that people are going to want to repin. There are a number of places you can create pins. Canva is really great, Placeit is really great, or you can hire a designer or VA to do these things for you. Next thing, if you have Google Chrome, you can add a Pinterest extension, which means that if you're on a website and you find something that you like that you want to add to your Pinterest, there's a little pin it button in your browser where you can just pin it and it will be linked to your Pinterest account and take you straight there. So pin cohesively, so anyone on Pinterest can get an idea of your style. Pin 10 to 20 times a day. Based on my strategy, pin 60% of other people's content and 40% of your own. Repin your own pins. Repin them to different boards to set them back in circulation. If you follow group boards, which I recommend that you do, repin them to group boards so the pin's exposure is exponential. Open a business Pinterest account so you have access to analytics and track your analytics. Follow the path, and whatever you're linking your pins to, follow the analytics on that path as well. Check out placeit.net, specifically if you're selling print-on-demand products. And lastly, have fun. If you enjoy it, people will feel that. You can find Design by Cheyney on Pinterest. I will link the URL below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment below, or subscribe by clicking the button below and hit the notification bell. I am starting to post videos more regularly. I really appreciate the positive response, and I will try and respond to every comment below. If you have something that you would like me to hone in on, I'm happy to make more videos. I would like to get your feedback on what you'd like to hear about. If you have constructive feedback, feel free to leave it. Please be kind. Anything hurtful is not going to be helpful. So keep it constructive, and I will see you next time. Bye.